Please save me.
Right. All right, and good day, everyone, and welcome to today's session of Truly Foundation and A Course in Miracle. And I just love that introductory song. I've got to find my way back to you, Lord, or I got to find my way home. Oh, that has so much meaning to all of us, more meaning than we are aware of. And today we're going to get into a little bit of talking about finding our way back home, as the song said. And today we're going to be looking at workbook lesson 226 as we continue our journey in part 2 of this 365 day of transformation, restoration, renewal. It is just good. And today's lesson, as I've spoken earlier, has to do with the mere fact that all of humanity collectively accepted an idea that seemingly sent us on a journey to a faraway country. I love it. I love the way that Jesus taught when he was embodied in a body and he was sharing these God ideas to the people of his time. And he always used stories and what they call parables, metaphors. He tried to meet the people on the level in which they were thinking so that he could lift them up to a greater, grander awareness of spiritual ideas or spiritual awareness, to bring them from a place of looking from a point of view that was very limited, very finite, and bring them to a place of thinking or a level of thinking that they were capable of experiencing. And that's how I look at A Course in Miracles. It is not a religion. But what it is a tool to help lift all of us, regardless of what spiritual path that you have been on or maybe currently on. I've shared in the past that I was mentored or raised in a Christian home. I was raised in the teachings of Christianity. That was my mentoring. That's where I developed my belief system. And then there are thousands of other paths, religions, and ways of being, and all of them are good in the sense that they are a good beginning to serve as a pointer to the fact that there is a consciousness that we all need to have towards God, that there's a consciousness support towards that there is a supreme being there, or in other words, there is a purpose, there is a reality, there is something that makes sense of all of this, that we're not just born into this environment. And that there is not a purpose for it that is greater than what meets the eye. So all religions are good in the sense that they help humanity to have a consciousness towards that which we call God, or that there's a consciousness towards a greater power. There is a greater purpose. There is a grander purpose for all of this. There is something that can make sense of all of this. Because this in and of itself, it makes no sense. When the human brain is when the human when the natural mind is left into itself to interpret what it sees and make sense and give purpose to what it sees and what it experiences, it doesn't come close to the reality that is really present, that we cannot see with the natural eye, or we cannot understand with our own thinking. So that's what I mean when I say all spiritual paths are good, in the sense that it helps bring humanity to an awareness that there is something greater. But then from that point, it is up to the individual to take responsibility for the seeking for the truth that is true always, to come to understand why and what and for and where, to make sense of all of this. I remember as a kid, with having no care, it really didn't matter. I just enjoyed life, enjoyed the world, enjoyed my brothers and sisters, my mom and dad, my community. Just enjoy. I didn't have no responsibility. But as I moved from a child to adolescent, and then into, start taking on adult responsibility, like, okay, going to work, and having to make choices, and then, coming to the end of my regular schooling career and making a decision whether, I'm going to college, or whether I'm going to go to the army or service, or whether I'm going to, go to work. And then after making those choices, having to live in those choices, which I chose to go on to secondary school, to college. And then from there, the world begins to get bigger and grander. You meet different people from different cultures and different things. And all of a sudden, the world got so big to me. And I was limited in what I knew, because I only knew what I had experienced. And then came the moments that I began to be real uncomfortable with myself, not sure about myself, not certain about what is this all about. And it was through those self-inquiries that I set myself on a journey to find out what the truth was. So the course is here to help lift us to a level of understanding and awareness by bringing us into a face-to-face encounter with our true identity, with this reality of our oneness with our Creator and each other and all living things. And it has brought to us on this journey an understanding of the world, what the world really is. And when we talk about the world, we're not talking about the physicality of the world. We're talking about, as it said here, the world is a false idea about who we are. So I've come to understand that everything centers around humanity. We are the center of this world. We are the center of this universe, that we basically control everything. Yes, humanity, our species, really determines everything that happens on this planet and in the galaxies. We have that influence, and it all is affected by the way that we are thinking, our thoughts, the thoughts that we hold. It's controlling everything. And the thoughts that we have held in the past has controlled everything. That humanity really is the center or the God of this world. As it was said in the creation story, that God created humanity, placed them in the garden to take care of it, to manage it, to subdue it, and given all authority unto humanity. And so that authority comes through the way we think. And so how we have thought over these thousands of years have determined what the world has become. And the world is now as a result of our collective thinking. And we know the world needs healing. The world needs deliverance. The world needs the situations in the world. A lot of them are not very loving. People are not very loving. And all of that is driven by the way they think. So this entire course that we are taking, called A Course in Miracles, which is a 365-day course in transformation, renewing our minds. We've gone through part one, where we've gone through the stage of what is called undoing. In other words, we let go of the way that we were thinking prior to taking the course. And the way we were thinking was based on our conditioning. It was based on what we embraced as what we thought was reality. And now we've come to know different. And the course makes it very plain and very simple. You don't have to read it in stories and try to figure out the characters and who done what. And that's not the way it's written. It's very straightforward. It says things like, you are not a body. I am not a body. I'm free. I remain as God created me. It says straightforward things like, this world is an attack on God. It was created to be an attack on God. It was created to be a hiding place for humanity who believed that it separated itself from its creator. It says very straightforward things. Like we are sinless and guiltless and innocent in all of it. It says things like there are no exceptions in reality. And that in reality, nothing has really changed. We remain as we were created. That this world of time and space is an illusion. It's not real. It's just a temporary experience that we're having by our own choice. But that heaven remains intact. And that in what it really says, straightforward, is that we remain as God created us and where God created us. And so we have really, in reality, never left the heart of God, that we're still there. We're just dreaming of exile, dreaming of going on a journey. But in reality, we haven't gone anywhere. Just like if you would walk into your children's room and you would peep in on them before you turned in, and you notice that your daughter or your son would be tossing and turning in bed. Why? Because they're having a dream, and that dream is not very pleasant. It's a nightmare. They've been chased by the tiger, lion, and the bear. So it seemed to them it's real, that the boogeyman or the tiger, the lion, and the bear is after them and is going to eat them up if someone don't come and save them. This is what they're dreaming. We've all had those dreams. But in reality, the tiger, the lion, and the bear is not going to eat them up. The boogeyman is not going to get them. In fact, none of these things, these images, are real. They're making them up. They're using their abilities to imagine based on fear to make up these images and to make up this scenario where they are being chased. But now here you are coming into the room. You're not asleep, you are awake. And you observe your child that's having a nightmare. To them it's real, to you it's what? You know it's not real. You know it's not real. So likewise, This world seems to be so real. These bodies that we're in seem to be so real. This table that I'm banging on, it seems to be so real. It's solid. If I drive 3 hours west, I'll end up in the mountains, and the mountains seem very solid, solid granite. It seems real. If I drove 2 hours to the east, 3 hours to the east, I'll run into the ocean, and the ocean seems so permanent, so real. But in reality, these are all images that we've made up in a dream. They're not real. They're only a temporary experience that we're all having. So in reality, this is not our home. This is not our reality. But when we try to make it our reality, it's called what? It's called distortion. We are distorting reality. We are trying to make value out of that which has no value, in the sense that it is not eternal. When you compare it to reality, in reality, there is only eternity. There is no beginning and no end. It just is. It's always present, and that never changes. But we're brought here in this on this temporary stage, I might say, to have an experience, a human experience, so much that we get so caught up in this human experience that we forget about reality. We forget about who we are. And we begin to give all of our allegiance and all of our credence to this temporary experience, to the point that we don't want to leave here. We don't want to die. It's as they think the concept of death is. We don't want to leave our home. We don't want to leave our money. We don't want to leave our children. We don't want to leave our sports, our arts, our science. We don't want to leave our church, our faith communities. We want to stay here forever. In fact, some of our religions even conjure up these ideas that, all this going to be washed clean, and we're going to be back here living in it in a clean way forever. And so we try to make the dream continue. We try to make that which is unreal, we try to make it real. That's the problem. That is the problem. But the answer is to undo that idea that this world of time and space is eternal and that it serves our purpose. No, there is a purpose that it can serve that changes everything. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit today. And so that's kind of, like the ABCs of advanced spirituality. That's kind of the ABCs of A Course in Miracles. A Course said, hey, look, there is no world. The Course come back and said, there is no God. Or not necessarily there is no God, but it says there is no world. It says there is no you. It said there's only God. God is, and there is nothing else. And that frightens us. What do you mean? I'm not going to have my husband or my wife in heaven with me. I'm not going to have my kids. I'm not going to have my money. I'm not going to have my, my health. And see, that point of view is what is very disturbing, in that it's not real. It's like the children laying in the bed thinking that the lion and the tiger, the bear, is going to eat them up. They're making it up. And so we have made it all up and made it to try to be a substitute for reality. It doesn't work. No matter how hard we try, no matter how long the earth continues to be, and more beings come and try, it doesn't work, because it's only a temporary experience. We cannot make it permanent. You don't want to make it permanent. because there is nothing grander than that which is what permanent. There's nothing grander than that which what God created, which is you and me. Not as timeless, time informed beings, but as timeless and formless being. Who we really are, you don't want to substitute that. The innocent, the self aware, the infinite, you don't want to substitute that. You are set for eternity. You don't want to substitute that for this, what we think is a good place, or you might think a good home, or a good this and a good that, or and it's, but all of it is passing away. You know that everything that's in form is passing away. Everything that's in form, it comes and it goes. You've noticed that? Have you noticed that every human being comes, that is born in a body, that eventually that body deteriorates. So that is not what we want. We do not want to substitute this idea of separation and multiplicity for the oneness that we share, for the one being that we are. We don't want it. I don't want it. You ever seen a hearse in a funeral procession with loads and loads, trailer loads of things that are going with the person? No, you don't see it. Naked we came, naked we leave. Because none of this temporary stuff can make it into the reality, and you don't want it to. This temporary stuff, it breaks down, it gets sick. This temporary stuff, it fights. This temporary stuff, it gets mad, it holds grudges. This temporary life, it's full of diseases, heartache, heartbreak, disappointment, betrayal. You know it, name it, it's full of it. You do not want to substitute this life for your real life. No, you don't. I'm convinced of it. Even in this life, these bodies we got, they're the most needy things I ever seen in my whole life. They need 24-hour attention. You gotta pour into them, and then you gotta empty them out all the time. You gotta feed them. It's just clothe them. You got to, work with the vision, the hearing, the smell. Everything is always under maintenance. These bodies are not maintenance free. I don't know why I'm talking about this. But anyway, lesson 226, it says, my home awaits me. I will hasten there. I will hasten there to my home. So it's saying that this is not your home. Jesus said, I am in the world, but I'm not of it. That's what he was saying. I'm having this experience, but this experience is not having me. I'm having this experience of being in this place, but I'm really not here. It's like when you're dreaming, go back to the example, the little boy, the little girl in their dreams. They're laying in their bed having a nightmare. And the nightmare appears to be real, but it's not. They're in the dream, but they're not. They are the dreamer of the dream. And cast themselves in the dream. And that's what we've done. So here it says, my home awaits me. I will hasten there. And why would you hasten there? Why? Because the place that you're currently calling home, it's not very nice. This world is not very nice. The script is not very nice. The roles are not very nice. The functions are not very nice. The characters are not very nice. My home awaits me. Now, you would think I'm saying talking about someplace beyond in the by and by, like they say, that after the body cease to be alive, we go there. That's not what I'm talking about. No, I'm talking about your home that is right here, right now, while you are in this world. That home awaits you now. Because what you said, Jesus said, I'm in it, but I'm not of it. That means that he was in it, but he was what? Of another world, of another way of thinking, of another way of being. In other words, he was in the world and at home. It's called peace. Peace is your home. So you can be in this world and be at peace. And peace awaits you. And what the lesson is today is that we need to hasten there. Because remember, you're formless and you're timeless. And you could be in time and form. And be in peace. And be in the world. That means that you can be awake in the dream. So, if I so choose, I can depart this world entirely. And we're not talking about departing this world physically. We're talking about departing the way you perceive, the way you understand this world. In other words, there's a way of seeing and a way of being and a way of experiencing this world and not be in the world. In other words, you're not subject to the laws of this world and still what? Be here. Because here is not a physical place, but here is a way of thinking. Here is a knowing. And so if I choose, I can depart this world entirely. In any instant, in any moment. You can decide to give your full allegiance to the ideas that are true always, to God's point of view. It says, it is not death which makes this possible. See, you don't have to die to leave this world. When you withdraw your allegiance, when you withdraw your endorsement, when you withdraw your belief in an idea that is not of God and place it, your belief, your endorsement in that which is true and true always. It said in that moment, that's how you leave this world. Just in your thinking. You can have a shift in your thinking and leave this world. But be in it, but not of it. It is not death that makes this possible, but it is change of mind. See, it is a change of mind. That's what this whole 365-day course we're taking, called A Course in Miracles. That's what it's all about, a change of mind. To change our mind from this idea that we made and tried to substitute for reality. Change our mind to what? Give our full allegiance and credence to reality only, to the truth that is true always, to the fact that we are one with our Creator and each other and all living things. There is no separation. Therein lies the rub, the belief in separation. That was the problem. That was the tiny man idea that set this whole world in motion. And just like it took one idea to set this whole world in motion, it only takes the one idea to put it back what? To say what? That it's a tiny mad idea. It's not reality. That's what the Course called atonement. So when the idea of separation entered into the mind of humanity, at that same time, the memory of God came into our mind and say, what? No, there is no separation. You can't separate from me. You can't create a world and hide out. I'll be there. I love that. I love knowing that, because without the knowing of that, it's a lot of fear, a lot of guilt. There's a lot of insanity that goes on without knowing that. It says, but it is a change of mind about the purpose of this world. That is how you leave this world entirely. When we have a change of mind about the purpose of this world. And that only comes from what? An awareness of the truth that is true always. So, if I believe that this world has value as I see it now, as I see it, if I believe that this world has value, that this world can really offer me something that is eternal, something that is changeless, can offer me peace, love, and joy and happiness. If I really thought that this world had value, it says, so will it still remain for me. In other words, if I really thought that happiness and peace and joy and all of the things that we desire can really be attained through what? This world, in the events and activities of this world, then that's the way I still see the world. And so that's the way I've given my allegiance and my credence over to what? This world, or this world way of thinking. It says, but if I see no value in the world as I behold it now, nothing that I want to keep as mine or search for it as a goal, it will depart from me. So it is in the way that we see. How are we seeing the world? Are we seeing the world through the eyes of God, through oneness, or are we seeing the world through the eyes of separation? Are we looking at the world through the eyes of reality, or are we looking at the world through unreality? Or are we seeing the world through the eyes of love, or are we seeing the world through the eyes of hate and division and separation? It's a matter of your point of view. It's a matter of your point of view. And so, for I have not sought for illusions to replace the truth. When we don't seek for that which is not there, then the truth remains. But when we seek for what is not there, when we seek for this world to be the source of our life, the source of our joy, our happiness and peace, and it's not there, it said we seek for illusions. But when we come to know that the world out there is only temporary, but who we are as the creation of God is eternal, is permanent, and that we are the source, we're one with the source of all things. When we come to realize that reality, that we are what? That we remain as God created us. We come to realize that we're in this world, but we're not of this world. That we remain in the heart of God, that we are the holy home of God. See? And that this world is not our home, but we are the holy home of God. Not our body identification, but our true identification as the innocent, infinite, self-aware, impersonal creation of God. Then we realize that we're already at home. That we just abide in the peace that is already present. That the fullness that we are, that we share, is always present. And so what? We turn to that reality. We hasten there, like it says, we hasten there. And this place of reality is always present for us to enter into. Because we can either enter into or remain in the truth of who we are, or we look to the world for purposes it cannot fulfill. It cannot give you happiness. It cannot give you joy. It cannot give you peace. It cannot give you the significance or the role or the function that really bring about real joy and happiness and peace. It's not in the world. It's not in the way the world thinks. It's in the reality of who you are. It's in your identity and mind. And so we're going to end this lesson today, like we've done over the last few days, with a little short affirmation. We here it calls a prayer. And it goes like this: Father, my home awaits my glad return. And you can go there in an instant. You can go there anytime you want to. But we have to be willing to lay down the thoughts of this world. We have to be willing to walk away from every idea, every credence that we've ever given to ourselves that is not true about us. We have to put away sin consciousness, guilt, and fear, because that is not who we are. It can't enter into your home. It can't enter into the kingdom, like it says. These things cannot enter into the kingdom of God. Well, what is the kingdom of God? The kingdom of God is you. Like Jesus said, it's not by observation. But the kingdom of God is you. The kingdom of God. In other words, God's home, God's what God represents, the essence of God, the nature of God. That is who you are. That is what we are. And so, Father, our home awaits our glad return. Your arms are open, and I hear your voice. What need have I to linger in a place of vain desires and of shattered dreams? That's the only way thing that world offer you. Vain desires and shattered dreams. Your happiness is in having a renewed mind, where you begin to see yourself as you really are, as you see the purity in heart that you are. Like he said, only the pure in heart shall see reality, shall see God as himself. That is where your peace lies, not out in the world that only what offers vain, meaning empty desires, and shattered dreams. When heaven can so easily be your constant experience. In this world, you can have a constant experience of peace, joy, happiness, fulfillment, when you understand and embrace and accept the reality of who you are. It comes through the knowing, grace and peace. Like Paul said many, many times, grace and peace is multiplied unto us through what? Through the knowledge, through the knowing, through the direct experience of experiencing your true self as peace, as love, as joy, as happiness. Experiencing yourself as God created you, as the sinless, guiltless one. Experiencing yourself as having equality with God and each other. That is what we're all seeking. And it's always present. And we can always enter in any moment. By taking all of our allegiance, all of our endorsements, laying aside every credence, every illusion that we ever held about ourselves and about our Creator and about each other. It simply takes a shift in the way we think. It only takes a shift in the way we think. And so we can depart this world entirely at any given moment. Not by death, but it is a change of mind about not only ourselves, but about the purpose for this world. And the Course shares with us what is the purpose for this world initially. And then as we repurpose the world to serve the will of God, now we can see clearly now all the illusions have gone, even about ourselves and about our neighbor. And we have the understanding of God. So where there's the understanding of God, there is a peace. There's nothing that can happen in this world that can throw you for a loop when you understand the purposes of God, the will of God. There's nothing. No war, no fighting, no destruction, no anything can throw you for a loop when you understand the will of God. And so it is true. Our home awaits us. And it's right here, right now. It's present. God is calling us to enter into this peace that passes all understanding, see? All natural understanding. And it says, I will hasten there. So today we hasten to enter into the rest. Paul said again in Hebrews, there's a rest for all of God's people. Who is God's people? All humanity, no exception. He said that we should labor to enter what? Into the rest. So we should labor to what? Embrace the truth that is true always. We should labor to what? Accept the atonement for ourselves. We should labor to let go of all the falsity about who we are and embrace the truth that is true always. And so we are home. And we realize that we're always at home. Regardless of what we're doing, what we're being, who we're with, we're always at home in God. Always at home, always in peace. So that's our practice for today. That is our practice for today. And we hear the voice that speaks for God only. That reminds us that God is our very life. That nothing in this world can change who we are. And so we give all of our allegiance, all of our credence to the truth that is true always. And that is, God is, therefore I am. We are one. Jesus knew that, and that's why he said it. I and the Father are one. You can say it. I and my Father are one. And in that oneness, there's peace, there's safety, there's no worries, man. God is the sustainer of my life. And so it is. And that's the end of Workbook Lesson 225. We'll be back on tomorrow. Come join us. We love you dearly. Peace. And we have found our way back home where we never left. That's the real irony of it. We have never left home. We just have not recognized it. But today we do. Happy home. Bye-bye.